safely to school. Today we have an adventure story. It's a Janie who is starting out with her mother, Mrs. Brown, to learn the safest way to walk to school. The Browns moved into the neighborhood only yesterday. So Mrs. Brown asked Fred Martin, third grader across the street, to show them the way, if his mother agreed. Mrs. Martin said of course, and now they're on their way. If we pretend to be looking down from an airplane, we see the Brown and Martin homes. Fred stays on his sidewalk and walks to the stop sign corner. The sign is for cars, which must come to a stop and only then go on. Fred has learned the safest thing to do is to look for himself in all directions and cross only when no cars are coming. As you can see, Fred is not crossing in the middle of the block. He is crossing from corner to corner, which is always the right thing to do. On the next block, there are no sidewalks. Here, Fred walks facing traffic. The law is that people on foot must face oncoming traffic so that they will be sure to see cars coming toward them. Fred, Janie, and Mrs. Brown walk single file to leave plenty of room for cars passing them. The drivers can see them from a block away, since they are wearing light-colored clothing. The next corner has no light and no signal. Fred explains to Janie that everyone's ears are the best of all. Fred looks in all directions. When he is sure nothing is coming, he leads the way across. At corners like this, Fred learned long ago that every girl or boy must be his own traffic policeman. Danger, a hidden driveway. Fred shows what to do. Stop and look, and then go. Play it safe every time. Just as dangerous is the alley in the next block. Mrs. Brown and Janie followed Fred's caution. They stopped, looked, and then went across. The alley is almost as wide as a street. Once past the alley, our group approaches their first signal light crossing. By the time Fred and the Browns reach the signal light corner, they find an old green burning. They wait. Fred explains to Janie why the green is called an old green. It has been shining for quite a few seconds and must change very soon without giving time for a safe crossing. Then will come a short yellow and the red light. After the red light will come the new green, the safe green. There, the new green. The three go on. One car is stopped for the light. Here, Fred and his friends pause to make sure no other car is coming in the next lane. When there are more than 2 lanes, Fred knows it is always wise to stop and look down each lane. Fred tells Mrs. Brown and Janie their walk is almost over. Across the busy main street is the school. Here, all school children must cross only when the crossing guard directs the way. The guard can be an officer in uniform. He can be an older student, usually wearing an armband. Or in this neighborhood, an older person, sometimes a woman, sometimes a man. The crossing guard carries a stop sign. When he is sure all cars have stopped, he signals for the waiting children to walk across with him. Boys and girls who have ridden bicycles push their bikes across. Mrs. Brown tells Janie to wait for her after kindergarten is out. Janie understands she must wait at the curb until her mother drives up. When the kindergarten children leave, Janie walks to the curb. She waits until her mother brings the car to a stop. Mrs. Brown has obeyed the law by stopping on the school side of the street. Also, she did not double park, and Janie did not have to cross the street to meet her. As a third grader, Fred's school day ends later. Walking home alone is an old story to Fred. The way home is almost but not quite the same as going to school. There's no change at the busy main street. With other boys and girls waiting to cross, Fred watches while the guard makes sure it is safe to go. At the traffic light crossing, Fred finds the light red, which means stop. He waits for the light to change to a new green. Then he crosses. By waiting for the new green, Fred has made certain that he will have plenty of time for crossing. Fred now comes to the street with no sidewalk. Going to school, Fred, Mrs. Brown, and Janie walked single file facing traffic. No matter which way you are going, you must always face traffic if there is no sidewalk. This afternoon, going home, Fred walks on the other side of the street. He can see the drivers of cars coming toward him, and they can see Fred. That's the safe way. Now Fred reaches the corner with no light. He looks and he listens. He crosses. It's the same at the stop sign crossing. Fred listens, looks, and when he knows it's safe, he crosses. Here, when Fred was learning how to walk safely, his father used to say, "Let your eyes and ears be your traffic policeman." And so ends Fred's day. It's time to play now. His mother knows he's safely home and is very proud that Fred could pass on the rules of safety to his new neighbors, Janie and Mrs. Brown.
over the world dependent on cow's milk for their very lives. It would be hard for the human race to get along without our foster mother, the cow. Modern dairy farms are a symbol of cleanliness with their neat corrals, whites, and tidy barns. Different corrals. Dobbin and Black Beauty seem to haul the wagon through the network of farm lanes and gates. The cows have 3 meals, one in the morning, one at noon, and one in the evening. Part of the cow's food is mixed in the silo, and oats, hay, and molasses. Some of their food is raised on the farm. Other food includes such things as cottonseed, linseed, and barley. The diet is carefully arranged to give the cow strength and to increase her milk supply. Beretta drinks. Perhaps the water is too cold. She will drink about 10 gallons a day. The crystal clear water shows the high standard of this modern farm. Work and scrubbing to keep the barns, stalls, and troughs clean. Every minute in the cow's life is planned so that she will produce a quantity of rich milk. Cows tend to pick out certain other cows for their special friends. One finds them together day after day, sometimes with their necks crossed. Salt is kept in the troughs at all times, because cows like people minerals and vitamins. The bulls have individual paddocks. These bulls are fine, strong specimens, and shows their huge frames and gives them power. This bull, named Bet, has a good appetite. It takes a lot of food to fill up these animals, and they have 4 stomachs. Did you ever try to hit a bullseye? Well, now's your chance. The superintendent proudly shows a year-old to a buyer. This bull is the son of Bet and shows his fine breeding and excellent care. A bull is led by a ring in his nose because this has been found the most practical for the farmer and the best for the bull. Mr. Allen likes the massive frame, the straight back, the fine big hindquarters, the wide spring of the ribs, the clean legs, and the well-set, beautiful head. Mr. Allen buys this bull for $700. Mrs. Crookedhorns enjoys an afternoon's rest. Did your mother ever tell you you were as awkward as a cow? When she eats, the cow first swallows her food almost whole. Later it comes back up in the form of cud and is re-chewed. Now watch carefully, and you can see the cow bring up her cud. Oh, you missed. Watch more carefully. There it goes. A large mouth is a point of beauty in a cow. She must be a good eater to produce a quantity of milk. About every 3 months, cows must be clipped. The state law demands that their udders and tails be clipped so they will be free from hair. A dairyman clips the heads of his cows so they will show off their fine points. The horns are cut off if the cow is rough or if the horns are deformed. Good horns are a point of beauty. Milking time, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Each milking lasts 2 hours. The milkers bring the cows in from the different corrals to the milking barns. The milkers wash the barns and sterilize the buckets before each milking. Every cow will go directly to her own stall or stanchion. The cows look forward to the milking because they are fed at this time, and also their bags feel tight and would get sore if they were not milked regularly. Geralda is led out for a special demonstration of milking. She holds many state records. For 3 consecutive years, she has produced over 20,000 pounds of milk. Geralda has the soapy nose of the moo cow moo. A healthy cow has a wet nose because cows only perspire through their noses. Geralda is worth $10,000, and her calves are very valuable too. Geralda's udder has already been washed, and now it is carefully wiped. Everything is done to ensure pure milk, free from harmful bacteria. Each cow is an individual and must be handled differently. The skilled milker has rhythm in his long strokes. Jim is careful in working around the cow not to upset her. If she gets excited, she may hold her milk. Whoa, boss. Steady there. That's it. Be a good bossy. Oh, girl. Easy. Geralda wears her farm identification number around her horns. She is a fine example of a Guernsey cow, with her straight back and large, deep body. An average milking for one cow is 4 gallons. Some cows give as much as 8 gallons. At the milk house, daily records are kept of the weight of each cow's milk. Monthly tests are made by a milk tester from the state university to determine the amount of butterfat. This herd has a fine butterfat record, a characteristic of Guernsey cows. Well, Dobbin and Black Beauty are still busy making the rounds of the different corrals. Now it is time to feed the calves that are 8 months old. Each age has special food and special care. Any dairyman would be proud of this line of purebreds. Here are the barns for the very young calves. The calves are taken from their mothers when they are a day old because these highly bred cows have milk too rich for the babies. Ed has charge of the mothers and calves. First, the babies must be taught to drink from a bucket. Special things like calf meal are added to their diet, like a baby's formula. This baby already trusts Ed. Like the cows, the calves spend several hours a day in their pastures. Ed trains them to be gentle and affectionate. Guernsey cows are famous for their good dispositions. These calves represent the fulfillment of a dairyman's dream. With their exquisite, intelligent heads, graceful, strong bodies, and beautiful fawn-colored coats. Calves are inquisitive like children and watch everything that goes on around them. Princess May of Green Meadows has a baby, Daisy, just an hour and a half old. Each mother and calf have their own corral. May dries off her calf and cares for her, and Daisy responds to mother's affection. Cows tell their own babies by their sense of smell. One of the first things the calf tries to do is to stand up. Come on. Oh, too bad. It is the natural impulse for all mothers to guard their babies, and the cow has a deeper maternal instinct than any other animal. The neighboring cows are jealous and wish Daisy belonged to them. Cows want every calf they see. Daisy wants food. A calf is born with its eyes open, but Daisy seems to be having trouble finding her dinner. It isn't here, or here, or here. But she will look until she finds it, and nature will tell her what to do when she does find it. And so we leave Princess May, mothering not only her own baby, but in reality, the whole human race. brave little dogs. Doug gives them the right food to make them strong and healthy. They eat 3 meals a day. Don trains Tammy to set up children like a dog tricks. The boys are proud of the puppies and want each dog to look his best when Mr. Conover comes over to choose one. But the puppies just can't see any reason for making a fuss. They don't realize how important it is to look clean and well-groomed. Now, Bobo, that's not a toothbrush, and it's not good to eat. Doug is patient but firm with the little dogs. Mr. Conover, who lives next door, comes to pick out his dog. He examines the puppies carefully. He knows that a good dog has strong, sturdy bones, a healthy coat of hair, a bright, intelligent look, and, most important, a good disposition. The boys tell him the good points of each of the puppies. Then he tells Mr. Conover how smart Tammy is, and Tammy likes Mr. Conover right from the start. Don would like to have Tammy live next door to play with Bobo, the dog that their father has said they may keep. Each one of the puppies is so cute, it is hard for Mr. Conover to decide. Doug wants the puppies to show how frisky they are, but the puppies want to play in the box where they sleep. Doug keeps a blanket in their box because he knows it is important for puppies to have a warm, dry place to sleep. Mother Mack wonders what is happening. Tammy has won Mr. Conover's heart, and he takes Tammy home to live with him and Mrs. Conover and their cat, Anna. Mother Mack is worried. She does not want Tammy to go. And Tammy is a little homesick at first. Donnie comforts the puppy. Very soon, Tammy is as happy as he can be. This is a home where a puppy can relax and enjoy himself. He makes friends with Anna, the cat. Dogs and cats are often good friends when they get to know one another. Anna likes him and tries to mother the baby dog. Tammy is very contented in his new home with Anna and the Conovers to take care of him. Later, Aunt Lucy shows the puppies to her friend, Mrs. McLeod, who wants a good-natured dog to play with her children and to learn to guard them as he grows up. Mark is too young to keep all the leashes of the 6 little puppies from getting tangled, especially when each puppy wants to go in a different direction. Mark isn't a bit afraid because he knows a puppy won't snap at him unless he teases the puppy or is rough with him. Mrs. McLeod teaches Mark to be gentle with the little dogs. She is as good and kind to a puppy as she is to her own children. She knows that a happy home for a puppy is one where there is plenty of love and where the puppy can feel he is needed to love and protect his family. Puppies are good companions because it is their instinct to love people. The puppy looks up at Mrs. McLeod as if to say, "I would like you to be my mistress. I will take good care of your babies." Paul has never seen so many puppies. Puppies are so friendly, he thinks it's fun to choose a dog. Mrs. McLeod takes her puppy in for dinner, a nice way to begin life in a new home. Mr. Tim comes to pick out a puppy for his grandson, Moat. Don is a good salesman, and Mr. Tim chooses Rudy. He takes Rudy to live in the country, where Moat and his family raise flowers for market. A week later, Doug goes to visit Moat and Rudy. Moat's uncle is a fisherman, and the children like to play on the nets piled high on the truck. Moat is very proud of Rudy, who adores Moat and follows him wherever he goes. Moat enjoys taking care of his dog himself. Rudy always wags his tail and is grateful for everything Moat does for him. In the meantime, Jiggs has gone to live with the gentle Mrs. Shanks and her cat, Puss in Boots. Mrs. Shanks understands animals and gives them lots of affection. Jiggs tries as hard as he can to please her. Like all dogs, he has quickly adapted himself to his new family. He is not at all lonesome for his brothers and sisters, with Puss in Boots for a playmate. Mickey has a good home with the Bickers family. Mrs. Bickers tells the children a story. She is kind and teaches the children to be thoughtful with their new dog. Tony is old enough to know what a little dog likes. She is gentle with her new puppy, and Mickey is devoted to his mistress. Tony knows a little dog needs plenty of exercise and unfastens Mickey's collar to play with him. Mickey likes to romp with Tony. He would like to catch the ball. He runs and runs. But his little legs are so short, he soon gets tired and comes back to Mrs. Bickers. A puppy can't ask for a drink of water, so it must always be where he can get it. Such good care makes a happy home for Mickey. Mr. White, who works for the milk company, stops by on his way home to look over the puppies. The boys like Mr. White and are anxious to have him take one of the puppies to live with him and his family. Mr. White knows the points of a good dog and feels the puppies to be sure that they are strong and husky. He looks carefully into their eager little faces. He would like a smart puppy because he wants to teach him tricks. Kilty seems to be just the right dog for Mr. White. But Mr. White thinks Bobo is a fine dog, too. However, he decides on Kilty and takes him to put him in the front of his truck. The boys give Mr. White the dog's bed, so Kilty will be comfortable in his new home. Kilty feels welcome in his new family. Penny and the neighborhood children love to play with the puppy. And although Kilty loves to play with them, it is hard for a little dog to keep up with so many children. Penny is teaching the dog to sit up. Sometimes children hurt their pets by being too rough with them, or by squeezing them too hard. Penny's mother reminds her to be gentle. And Kilty is happy but sleepy in his new home. Back at the Dowells' home, Mother Mack is lonesome without her puppies, and Doug tries to cheer her up. Bobo, too, seems sad. But the boys are pleased that each puppy has found such a good home. They have learned that a happy home, whether for a puppy or for a girl or boy, can be large or small, in the city or in the country, as long as it is one where your family love you and you do your best to be kind and helpful. Bobo thinks his home is best of all.
Sailing a toy boat. Is there a pond near your house where you can sail a toy boat? Here is the pond which is near our house. We call it the duck pond because there are so many white ducks here. It's a lot of fun to come over in the late afternoon and feed them. Frank likes to throw breadcrumbs to them. So does Jean. Mother says, let's see if the ducks will follow us over to the other side of the pond. Do you think they will follow? Let's see. Frank throws more bread to them. Yes, there they are. They have followed Frank and Jean over to the other side. So many white ducks on a little blue pond. But Frank sees someone coming. It's Dad, he shouts, and he runs to meet me. I have brought Frank something. What do you think it can be? Yes, it's a sailboat. A sailboat for Frank. He is pleased. He has wanted a sailboat for some time. The boat is red with a big white sail. Thank you, he says. What fun it will be to sail the new boat on the pond. Look, Jean, he shouts. He places the boat in the water. Mother and I will find a good place to watch. Frank blows on the big white sail, and the boat is moving, sailing gently over the water. Oh, look, says Jean. Look at Frank's boat. Penny looks too. But the boat is far out into the pond. Too far out for Frank to reach now. Hurry, swim out and get it, Penny. Swim out, Penny, and save the boat. Will Penny understand? No, he doesn't understand what Frank wants him to do. Oh, Penny, says Frank, you're no help at all. Frank runs, and here are some older boys. Can they help Frank? One of them has a long fishing pole. He throws the line towards the boat, and now Penny understands what Frank wanted. The boy has Frank's boat. He is bringing it in. There it is, safe and sound. Frank is very thankful indeed. The boy's name is Robert. Robert shows him how to set the strings on the sail. If you loosen this string, he says, the breeze will catch in the sail and the boat will go in a circle and come back to you. Frank is very glad to learn how to sail the boat, and he thanks Robert. He shows Mother and me what he has learned about sailing his boat. Now the boat will sail in a circle and come back. But Jean calls him. Come here, Frank. I have a surprise for you. And here is Jean's surprise. What do you think it can be? She has made a safe resting place for the boat. A harbor in quiet water. Thank you, says Frank. But Jean has another idea. Why not put my doll on the boat, she says. Let her rest on the boat while it is in the harbor. Why not let her go way out on the pond, says Frank. But what if the boat sinks? It won't sink, says Frank. All right. So Frank places the boat in the water. And now for a sailing adventure. Dolly is all ready. And there she goes. There she goes, Penny. A doll sailing all alone out into the pond. Jean watches. It's a lot of fun. It's very exciting. But look, what is happening? The little boat hits something. It's tipping over. Oh, Frank, look. Daddy, look. Look what has happened to my doll. The boat tipped over and she is in the water. Will the ducks see her? No, they don't. Jean's doll is all alone. Who will save her? Penny, please, save Dolly. Penny. Will Penny understand this time? Yes, he does. He jumps into the water. But he cannot find Jean's doll. He cannot see her. Oh, find her, Penny, please. But Penny can't find her. He looks around. Here she is, Penny. Here. And Penny sees her now. He is swimming towards her, swimming towards Jean's doll with all his might. Brave Penny. There, he has Dolly. Good boy, Penny, good boy. And now he is swimming towards shore, swimming with Dolly held in his mouth. He is holding her safely above the water. But Penny, don't drop her now. Oh, he just wanted to shake himself. Thank you, Penny. Thank you so much, says Jean. What a nice dog, says Mother. But what about Frank's boat? Here it is. Here is the sailboat. The wind has brought it safely into shore. It is safe and sound in the harbor. And Jean's doll is safe and sound too, thanks to brave little Penny.
This won't have to hurry to the bus stop. Buses to ride with anyone you don't know. If you should miss the bus, return home immediately. On roads or streets where there are no sidewalks, always walk facing the traffic so you can see. Be alert for cars coming out of driveways. It is almost impossible for the driver to see you when he is backing up. When waiting for the bus, form a line a safe distance from the edge of the road. The bus will stop a few feet away from the line. Wait until it has completely stopped and the doors open before starting toward the bus. When boarding, the boys are polite and let the girls go first. When it is necessary to stand on the opposite side of the road, wait until the driver leaves the bus to escort you across. Never start across until the driver has made sure traffic has stopped and calls to you. Walk quickly to the bus, but do not run. Safety patrol boys ride on some school buses. They help maintain order and assist small children getting on and off of the bus. Everything possible is done to make the school bus safe. Mechanics regularly check and repair them to be sure they are in good operating condition. They are painted a bright yellow so they may be easily seen, and warning lights are installed so that motorists will stop when the bus is loading or unloading children. School buses are also regularly inspected by special officers of the Highway Patrol or State Police. This carefully trained driver is protecting you by making sure the bus won't move while he is helping other children across the street. You, as a school bus passenger, must also learn and obey safety rules in order to protect yourself and others from injury. Keep your arms and legs out of the aisle so that others may move quickly and safely to their seats. For your protection, it is wise to talk quietly only to those close to you, so that the driver can hear the warning sound of a siren. Even the school bus must yield the right-of-way to emergency vehicles such as fire engines, ambulances, and police cars. If the driver hadn't heard the siren, it might have caused an accident. A quiet, orderly bus allows the driver to devote all of his attention to watching out for other cars and people. Sometimes it may be necessary for the bus to make a sudden emergency stop. If you are seated facing forward with your hands on your lap, you can quickly raise them to protect yourself from injury. The emergency door can be used by raising the handle and removing the safety guard chain. Older children should help the smaller ones. This exit may be used only if an emergency arises and you cannot leave through the front door of the bus. The rear window can also be used in an emergency by turning the two handles holding it closed. Keep your arms and body inside of the bus so that you won't be injured by other vehicles or branches of trees passing close to the bus windows. Many children have been painfully hurt in this way. When the bus arrives at school, remain seated until it has stopped and the door opens. The first row rises and leaves, and then the rest of the children follow, row by row. Many children ride city buses to school. It is just as important to remember safety and courtesy rules on a city bus as on a school bus. Form a line away from the curb, and when the bus comes, behave in a polite and orderly manner. You must never cross in front of a city bus. The driver is concerned with getting safely away from the curb, and he must watch for traffic coming behind him. When the bus has pulled away, look in both directions and make sure there are no cars coming before stepping into the street. When there are signals, always wait for the green light and be sure traffic from both directions and behind you has stopped before starting across. Walk, don't run in a crosswalk. Always obey your safety patrol. They are there to help you. At the end of the school day, children who will ride school buses home line up with their group. Teachers supervise the groups and walk with them to the bus. When the driver stops the bus on the highway, he first sets his warning signals, and when it is possible, he pulls off the highway. The patrol boy helps the children from the bus and has them line up. Always wait until the driver has made sure it is safe to cross and calls to you. Following your regular route, go directly to your home. Remember, everything has been done to make your school bus safe. However, it can be completely safe only if you do your part. Line up a safe distance from the edge of highways or streets and wait for the bus to stop and the doors open before moving toward it. Safety is courtesy. Remain seated until the bus stops. Wait your turn to leave. Always be careful when crossing streets. Wait for the green light. Look in both directions and behind you before leaving the curb. Walk. Don't run. Never try to cross in front of a city bus. Wait until it has pulled away and you can see approaching cars. Follow the safety rules. They are for your protection. Obey the patrols and the driver. They have been trained to help you.
The day Joe Howard set up a telegraph in his backyard, he was so proud of it that he had to show it to his next-door neighbor, Alice Marshall.
How's it work, Alice?
It's marvelous. You press a button over there, and there's a click here. It's just like magic.
Well, it's not magic. The thing that makes the telegraph work is a magnet.
A magnet?
Sure, you know what magnets are.
Well, sort of.
So Joe took Alice into his workshop to show her his collection of magnets.
You see, Alice, these are bar magnets. This one is a horseshoe magnet. These round ones are cylindrical. Even the needles and the compasses are magnets, too. All these are called permanent magnets because they keep their magnetism for a long time.
But, Joe, what does the N and S on the magnet mean?
Well, a long time ago, somebody discovered that a certain kind of iron ore called lodestone was magnetic. When a lodestone is hung in the air, it always has one end pointing north, so they call this the north end and the other south. When you put a bar magnet in this stand, it also points north and south, so its ends, we call them poles, are lettered N and S. When you put a magnet in a case, you have a compass that points to the magnetic north.
Look, my magnet pushes yours away. But this way they stick together. Why do they do that?
Look at the letters on the poles.
This is the north pole of mine and the north pole of yours. And they push each other apart. But if the north pole of mine and the south pole of yours, oh, I see. If the poles are the same, they separate. But if they're different, they pull together.
Alice soon learned more about magnets. For instance, some of the things they will pick up, like nails and tacks. Then Joe shook out a little pile of iron filings on the table. And Alice found that the magnet picked them up, too. She also learned some of the things they won't pick up, such as rubber, wood like a pencil, and a glass marble. When a wire nail is held against the magnet, it becomes temporarily magnetized and attracts other nails. But soon after the magnet is taken away, the nail loses its magnetism and the other nails fall off.
Joe, can you make a magnet?
Sure, I can take any small piece of hard steel. A hacksaw blade will do, and I can magnetize it. It's not a magnet now. It won't pick up the filings. But when I stroke one end of the blade on one end of a magnet, it becomes magnetized.
It really is a magnet. But, Joe, can a magnet attract things if there's something else in between? Or something like glass, or paper, or wood?
Sure. I'll show you.
Joe set up a large pane of glass so they could put a magnet underneath it, and Alice put her metal charm pin on the glass.
Say, magnetism does go through glass, doesn't it?
That shows how magnetism is different from electricity. Electricity won't go through glass or paper or rubber. They cover electric wires with rubber so it won't get through and hurt anybody.
Say, I wonder what magnetism looks like.
Well, I can show you what a magnetic field looks like.
A magnetic field is the space around a magnet where its influence is evident. It makes a regular pattern. When Joe arranges a straight bar magnet under the sheet of glass and then sprinkles iron filings on the glass, the filings make a pattern that shows the field of force running from pole to pole. The Earth itself is just like a huge bar magnet with lines of force running from pole to pole. A compass tells direction because it follows these lines of force and always points to the northern part of the Earth, the North Magnetic Pole.
But, Joe, what does all this have to do with your telegraph set?
I'm coming to that. The telegraph uses an electromagnet.
What's an electromagnet?
That's a magnet you make by winding wire around a soft iron core spool. Then you connect the wire to some cells and put in a switch. When the current is turned on in the coil of wire, the iron core becomes magnetized, but it loses its magnetism as soon as the current is turned off. The telegraph set works the same way when hooked up to the cells. The key is just another kind of a switch. When closed, current flows through the circuit.
The main part of the sounder is an electromagnet attached to the batteries and the key. Here's a good way to see what really happens. There's the electromagnet, the wires to the battery, and the key. Up at the top is an iron bar, kept away from the magnet by a little spring over at the left. When the key is pressed, current flows through the coil and the electromagnet pulls the bar down. The bar will be held down only as long as the key keeps current flowing in the coil. Each time the key is pressed down, the electromagnet pulls the bar down, and when the key is released, the spring pushes the bar up. It's the up and down movement of the bar that makes the clicking sound.
I think I understand about your telegraph, Joe. But do people use electromagnets for anything else?
Sure, a lot of things. The telephone receiver works a lot like a telegraph, only it's more complicated. And electromagnets are what make electric motors work.
How do they do that?
Well, you see, electromagnets have north and south poles just like permanent magnets. They attract or push away from the north end of the compass needle. When I change the direction, current flows through the wire, and the poles of the electromagnet are reversed. Now the poles are just the opposite of what...
I can understand that, but what does it have to do with an electric motor?
You'll see when I start the model I made last year for the hobby show.
Joe's model is a simple electric motor. Bar electromagnet mounted on an axle. This is the armature. And here are two more electromagnets, one a north pole, the other a south pole. With each half turn of the armature, the current in the rotating electromagnet is reversed. So the like poles of the armature and field magnets are continually pushing the armature around to the point where the poles are not alike and so attract each other. But just as the unlike poles come opposite each other, the current is reversed again and the revolution continues. Thus, the armature is kept in constant motion as long as the current is flowing.
I never knew how important electromagnets are.
And there's another thing you ought to know about magnets.
What's that?
Well, besides making magnets with electricity, you can make electricity with a magnet.
Can you?
Watch. We attach this coil of wire to the galvanometer, which will show any flow of current in the wire. When I move a magnet through the coil, the galvanometer shows the currents flowing in the wire. I can do the same thing continuously with the model we used for the motor.
In this model, Joe has everything he needs to generate electric current. Those batteries are only to make the electromagnets work. So the magnetic field created between the two outside magnets will be cut by the coil of wire on the armature when it is turned. This produces an electric current in the coil as moving the magnet through the coil of wire did. When a light bulb is put in place of the galvanometer, the generator does useful work.
It's fun making our own electricity.
And it's important, too. Think how many things we use depend on electricity.
And they're all made by magnets.
Say, we've been talking a good deal about magnets. Do you think you know all about them?
Well, not all about them, but I do know quite a bit.
Yes, Alice and South. Like poles, unlike poles, attract each other. Magnetism will go through things like glass and paper. Around every magnet there is a field of force. The Earth is like a huge bar magnet with a field of force and poles that attract compass needles. By passing an electric current through a coil of wire around a soft iron core, an electromagnet is made. Electromagnets can be made to do work in an electric motor and to make electricity in a generator. From giant complex dynamos to simple compass needles, magnets play an important part in making our lives safer and more enjoyable.
Our fire exit drill today started very well. The boys and girls kept in their line and didn't get mixed up with the other classes. It didn't take us long to get out of the building and to get to our assembly place. The group leaders helped me take the roll. Sammy's group were all present, and so were Carl's group and Jimmy's. But in Sally's group, someone was missing. It was Richard. But in just a moment, Richard joined us, and everyone was present. How long did our drill take? Half a minute less than we had ever done before. We felt quite proud to have done so well. The last time we had a fire drill, we were very slow. While we waited for the return signal, I thought back over all we had done to get ready for this fire drill. It was just 3 weeks ago that Fireman Harris came to visit us. He told us about fires and how firemen fight them. He answered our questions, too.
What would the firemen do?
Well, if there were a fire here at the school, you know the little fire alarm boxes here and there around your school. Well, whoever discovered the fire would send in the alarm right away. That would ring our alarm down at the firehouse. We firemen would get on our fire trucks and start out for the school as quickly as possible. As soon as we got to the school, we would go to work to put out the fire. We'd attach our hoses to the water hydrant. We'd get our ladders ready. But your job would be to get out of the building quickly and safely and stay out of the way of the firemen. You know, that's why we have fire exit drills, so you'll always know just where to go and what to do in case there's a fire in your building.
And that was the beginning.
Bye, everybody.
Fireman Harris showed us just how important fire drills really are. So we knew we must study and practice together to do better on our fire drills. We had a fire exit plan, one that showed our class how it should leave the school. And we all knew what we were to do. But we just weren't sure we had practiced enough to do everything well. So we used this signal to start our own practice drills. But see, some of the children didn't get up as quickly as they should. Some weren't sure which way they were supposed to go, and some did get in each other's way a good deal. No, that wouldn't do at all. We had to learn to do our part of the job as well as the firemen did theirs. We talked through our plan to make sure each of us knew just what to do. Robert will open the door. Billy and Harold will close the windows. That was better, wasn't it? By following our plan carefully, we were able to start out of the room much more smoothly. Jimmy's job was to lead the line. We all remembered to walk along in single file and not to crowd each other. The door and got in line too. Jimmy remembered the way all right, but the stair monitor blocked our regular stairway. What if there were fire and smoke on the stairs? We had a plan for this, too. Jimmy turned and led the line to another stairway. I was pleased and proud of our whole class. Of course, we didn't talk at all, and we kept our orderly line. Never too close to each other, never too far apart. We kept our line moving. After we finished that part of our practice drill, we went to the gymnasium so that we might have a practice drill from there. In a gymnasium or assembly hall or any public hall, it's a good idea to look around and see where the exit signs are. Exit. That means this is a way out. If you were in gym or assembly and a fire drill was called, your teacher would tell you which exit door to use. You would stay in line and follow the teacher's instructions. During the next few days, we practiced again and again. The boys and girls learned to stop whatever they were doing. Even when the practice drill was a surprise, they lined up quickly and smoothly. They learned their jobs in the fire drill as well as the firemen know theirs. Of course, we couldn't know just when a real fire drill would be called. And today, just when Richard was out of the room, it happened. Everyone knew just what to do. But what about Richard? What should he do? Richard knows what to do, too. He joins the nearest line, whether it is his class or not, and goes out with them. All the classes come out of the building quickly, but we do not run. Even outside, we are quiet. And we don't look back at the school until we get to our assembly place and stop. Then we can look back at the school if we want to. But we still don't make noise, for we must take the roll. Where is Richard? He isn't with the class, and we are worried about him. Richard is all right. He came out with another class, and now he's getting permission to go to his own class. Richard didn't he? All the class did well. It was a good fire drill to go back inside. Well, we have learned to make our fire exit drill a big success. What can your class do to improve the next fire drill at your school?
Hello. I'd like to have you meet my family and see how much fun we have together. I guess a great deal like most things together. At least people often tell us we do. Today, my daughter Barbara and I must decide which goats we will sell to the Navy, as they are buying goats to send to the island of Guam, so that the servicemen there can have fresh milk. All the goats on the island were killed in the war. We talk over the different goats and decide which ones will be the most useful to the Navy. My children are thrilled about this order, Goats for Guam. Mother comes out to call Patty. She wants her to ask Barbara and Bill to hang out the wash. Right over there. It takes a lot of washing for a family of 5. The children are glad to help when we need them. We are always interested in their activities, and in return, they share our interests. Even little Patty likes to feel she is helping us. It is surprising how many things that little girl can do. But it isn't all work. The children have lots of time to play. Bill holds Fleeta while Barbara saddles her. Patty never misses a thing that happens in our small farm. She adores her big sister and has just one desire in life, to be just like Barbara. Barbara is quick at everything she does, whether it is riding or baking a cake. Bill holds Patty safely by the hand. The children tag along, begging for some trick riding. Barbara rides very well. In fact, she's won several cups for her riding. Fleeta is a high-spirited horse and always a big thrill to Bill and Patty. Make her rear higher, Barbara. Higher, higher. The children think Barbara and Fleeta are as good as a circus. And Fleeta can count. Yes, sir. Watch her. No, Fleeta, that's not right. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, how does a horse know how to count? Barbara often does errands on horseback. Today, I want her to take a message to Dr. Graham, the animal doctor. The Navy wants him on hand when the goats leave for Guam. On the way back, she will pick up some groceries. Busy little Patty. She tries to do the things she has seen her father do. This is the way she plays at being grown up. Cleo watches every move she makes. All the animals on the farm love our baby, and she loves them. Barbara is back, and Patty goes to meet her. Bill takes the load. and helps himself to a cracker. Fellow's always hungry on a farm. Barbie, did you bring me some candy? Barbara says no, but she will bake her a cake. Now it's time for Barbara to start milking her goats. Barbara is very proud of her goat, Ginny, who has won prizes at the county fair and the 4-H club fairs. She even holds a national record for milk production. That is, she has given the largest quantity of milk of rich quality in a single day of any goat in the country on which there are official records. She gives about 9 quarts a day. Patty loves that fresh, warm milk. And then, too, it's fun doing things with Barb. Barb never acts as though Patty were a little girl. Uh-oh. A little mustache there, young lady. Come on, let's wipe it off. That looks better. Yes, Barb enjoys little sister, too. They're just pals together. Barbara has a strong, sure milking stroke. Then she weighs the milk carefully. 7 pounds, 3 1/2 quarts of milk. Very good for a single milking of a little goat. And then I take the milk and run it through the separator. Goat's milk is different from cow's milk. The cream does not rise by itself. It is necessary to run the milk through a machine. And you can see the way the milk runs into the pail and the cream into the jar. Bill brings another bucket from the barn. Everything must be spotlessly clean when you handle milk. Now Barbara is stirring up the cake she promised Patty. Our family lives out of doors a great deal, so we all have good appetites. Patty wants chocolate cake with marshmallow frosting, and can she lick the pan? Of course, there's that matter of dishes. I never saw a child yet that liked to wash dishes. However, we all pitch in, and some way it's over in a jiffy. Well, the Navy men are here to buy their goats to send to Guam. That officer seems to know what he's looking for. He examines them carefully and really appreciates our fine goats. The Navy wants good stock to start a herd of strong goats that will give a lot of milk. And he likes Gloria, Claudia, and the others Barbara and I picked out as being the best goats for the Navy. They don't know anything about the long ocean voyage that is ahead of them. The Navy asked us to all meet at Mr. Carson's barn at 5 o'clock. As usual, several of our family are on hand. Mother, Bill, and a neighbor. The Navy bought goats from several different stock farms. The truck is well padded so that the goats will ride comfortably, and several bales of hay are taken along for food while en route in the truck. Mr. Ecker, the head of our goat society, and Dr. Graham are busy checking each goat's papers and health record. The ship is leaving from San Francisco, so Mr. Brown and I are to take the goats to the port. Bill puts my luggage in the cab. That boy just naturally sees things to do. Goats are such affectionate little creatures, you become very fond of them. We all hate to send our pets on that long ocean voyage to Guam, thousands of miles away. Good little goats, and may you bring lots of luck and health to those far-off islanders. Well, the truckload of valuable goats is ready. So one last goodbye, and we're off for San Francisco. The next night, I am back home again by dinner time. And what a lot we have to talk over. You know, it seems to me that when a family gathers around the table, well, that's the time we're closest together. And tomorrow is going to be another exciting day for the children, the 4-H Club Fair. Both Barbara and Bill are showing stock at the fair. No, Patty, you can't go along. That's no place for a little girl. Barbara's thrilled with the fair. She's been grooming and training her goats for weeks for the show ring. I still have to help Patty with her chicken. She likes the variety of food her mother cooks. Isn't that a nice plate? Lots of green vegetables. Just the things to make children grow healthy and strong. Son, will you please fill the glasses? Yes, the children are good about helping. Have to give their mother credit for that. She always seems to have time to explain things to them. What a lot of fun we have together. Uh-oh, don't forget Patty's glass, Bill. She's mighty thirsty tonight. Betty is happy to see her children eat so well. Patty likes to help, too. She's really pretty small and uses both hands when she carries the dishes. Careful, baby. Steady. Here she goes. Oh, the cake Barbara was baking this afternoon. Chocolate with marshmallow frosting. Just what Patty ordered. Mother cuts big, generous slices. Won't that taste good? Bill takes a special interest in this because he helped tend the strawberry plants. Yes, sir, I think I've got a pretty nice family. Well, the day of the 4-H Club Fair is here. The local 4-H clubs are competing, and the children are anxious to win points for their own club. Bill and Barbara are both in this event. Barbara has shown before, but this is the first time for Bill. He's been practicing for days and really knows how to show his goats. The judge is Mr. Castle, the local county fair advisor for the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Yes, sir, Barb wins a second. And Bill, the yellow ribbon, 4th place. Not bad, Bill, for your first time. Everyone up for the next event. French Alpine milking goats. Both children are entered. Look at their nice straight backs, the large milk bags. Tense moment for the children. Which one will the judge decide has the best points? Good. Barbara wins this event, and also the baby goat event. The next event is unusual. The parents show the goats, and the children act as judges. They are graded for their judging ability. First, they grade the goats, and then the judge scores the same goat, and the results are compared. Our whole family takes part. You can see how we all enjoy the same things. It is hard to decide the winner. Look at these fine heads. The children know they must be impartial. Each goat will get a fair chance. The children are very serious. Now, which has the best hindquarters? Barb thinks Paulette. Bill thinks Ginny. And now Mr. Castle, the county farm advisor, judges the same event. The winning points will be credited to the proper 4-H club. The judge has decided. I hand Mr. Castle the children's score sheets, and the results are compared. Barbara's training counts. Yes, sir, she gets a second. Barbara hands Tom her ribbon. She's won a lot of points for her club today. Now, here's a big moment for Bill. He acts as one of the judges for the hog event. He tries hard to make a good decision. He wears the 4-H Club official badge, a nice thing for a fellow to keep. It takes a lot of work to train and groom the animals for the ring. The goats don't show well if they're nervous. So, believe it or not, sometimes at night, Barbara even sleeps in the stall with her champions. Thus, the goat is not afraid and sleeps better in the strange place. In the morning, the goat will be rested and show to advantage in the events. Well, sleep tight, Barbara. Now the fair is over and Barbara is back doing housework. But even dusting isn't bad when you're handling cups like these that you've won yourself. Barbara makes good money, too, selling her goats, enough to pay a good portion of her college expenses. Bill, too, makes money on his rabbits and hogs. Every once in a while, he needs a word of advice and encouragement. I think what I like best are the evenings with the family around the fire. Well, Barbara uses those needles just like her mother does. Uh-oh, a little trouble. Well, Mother will straighten it out. You can see in our family there's teamwork all the time. Not that we don't have disagreements, but we all pull together. Now take Mother. She always has time to understand Patty's problems, even if it is just trouble with a dolly shoe. There we are, all fixed. Thank you, Mommy. If I do it myself, Barbara is a mighty pretty girl. And it didn't surprise me when they used her picture on the cover of the Goat magazine. Don't you agree with me? Say, Patty wants some music. Good idea. It's nice to relax after the day's work. Well, it's getting late. Time for Patty to be off to bed. Big sister helps out. That little Dickens full of the old Nick, even when she's going to bed. Barbara's sweet with the baby, but firm, too. Patty, go right to sleep. But first, Dolly must be tucked in. Now, good night, folks. And I hope you all are as happy in your homes as we are in ours.
Can't keep them off. If we did, we'd have hamsters running out the bedrooms.
I guess so. You know, with this one right here, some scientists might discover a new cure for something. You might be historic someday.
Can't ever tell.
Do you think they mind? The hamsters, I mean. They are sort of like us. I mean being twins. Except they're quintuplets. I'd feel awful if I had to go away somewhere, all by myself. Do you think they mind?
No. Hamsters are just hamsters. Aren't you?
Hello, Mr. Brown. How would you like to come out for a little bit of fresh air? Oh, Mr. Brown here must be a great-great-granddaddy. He's had dozens and dozens of children. Do you suppose he ever wonders how his family's getting along in the world?
Of course not.
But how do you know that animals don't feel things like we do?
They're not as smart, for one thing. Besides, don't you know your biology? Humans are the highest form of life.
You mean some humans are?
Well, naturally, I don't include people like Henry Robinson. Goof is in a class by himself.
Sometimes I wish Goof were in a world by himself.
He practically is. Nobody wants to be around him.
I've noticed him hanging around Mr. Claiborne lately. I saw them in the soda shop yesterday.
Poor Mr. Claiborne. Why doesn't he just up and tell Goof to get lost?
Because he's nice to everybody. In fact, he's the nicest man I know, except for Daddy.
Yeah, our ball team sure has been different since he started to coach us. But we're going to win that championship this afternoon.
Hi, kids.
Hello, Mr. Claiborne.
How are my twin zookeepers today?
Oh, and how are you, Mr. Brown? Any new additions today?
No, but Mrs. McGillicuddy's going to have some little ones in a couple of weeks.
Oh, how many do you and Ted have now?
13, counting the babies.
We're taking 5 to the lab next Saturday.
You two get pretty attached to them, I imagine, huh?
Pam sometimes acts like we were giving away a member of the family.
Mr. Brown is a member of the family. He was the first one we ever owned.
Well, you have a very handsome family.
What I came by for is to tell you that Tony Mitchell can't play today. He's in bed with the flu.
Tony's sick? For the playoffs? But he's the best batter we have. The Tigers won't stand a chance with him out.
Oh, sure they will, Pam. We've still got 8 good men on the team, right, Ted? And this will give Henry a little experience.
Henry? You mean Goof? You aren't going to let him play, are you?
Well, Henry will have him improve without practice.
But Mr. Claiborne, you know how he fouls everything up? Besides, this isn't practice.
Well, Sonny's got a bad knee. Ed is at camp. Jim's working. That's all the subs we have. Oh, Henry can't do much harm in right field.
You don't know Goof. He can cause trouble by just breathing. The other fellas won't like it.
Well, you're the captain, Ted.
I know, but he can make us lose the championship. It's bad enough having him live next door to us. He's always in our hair as it is, but to have him on the team...
Now, kids, I know how much you want to win, but now don't be defeated before the game even starts.
Goof couldn't catch a blind caterpillar. And he's such a pest. Wouldn't we be better off playing with one short?
Now, this will be the greatest thing that ever happened to Henry. Oh, anyway, you know the rules. If we don't have a full team, we have to forfeit. And, Ted, Henry might just surprise you if you give him a chance.
Can't you just see how Goof will act? He must have been out of town when the brains were handed out. I wish you were out of town right now. I got it. Hi, Twin Uglies. Hey, Ted, you guys got a real break today. Mr. Claiborne said I'm gonna play. Yeah, Goof, a real break for the other team. Are you with me? Is everybody with me? Go team, rah, rah, rah! Why don't you let me pitch, huh? Come on, I can pitch better than Alan. Oh, yeah, sure you can. Or shortstop. Come on, let me play shortstop. Something tough. You need a good player. Look, Goof, you're going to be in right field, and all we want you to do is stand there real quiet. You get it? Right field. Nobody ever hits a ball out there. That's the general idea. You're such a hot-shot ball player. Why don't you have a better glove? Real professional, I mean. This is the best there is. Just like the big leaguers use. Well, this love's played a lot of ball. You got some objections to it? Well, if you can't do any better, it's a glove, I guess. No, sirree, you can't say it isn't a glove. Get lost, will you? What do you raise these rats for, anyway? They're hamsters, and you know it. Well, they look like rats to me. For your information, they'll be used for medical research. Medi-who? Oh, you wouldn't understand. You mean they operate on them? They test new drugs and vaccines on them. It's very important. Oh. Here, rats. Come here, rats. Don't do that. It makes them nervous. A nervous rat? And you make me nervous, too. Ooh! A nervous rat? 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Rats! 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 Keep it up, Goof. Maybe you'll use up all your stupidity before the game. Are you kidding? I got a stockpile. Well, that's Goof. Let's get ready for the game. Yeah. Lefty Johnson's up again, and he's really hitting them. They're all going to right field, and Goof hasn't caught one of them. No matter where I throw him, Lefty pokes him out into right field.
Alan, keep throwing him to the outside. Ted, move back about 10 feet toward right field. Help Henry out.
I'd like to help him right out of the park. If Goof drops one now, we've lost the ball game. Don't worry about Justin. He can hit a mosquito. You can give him a fly swatter for a bat. 3 strikes, real easy. We got him deep. Hey, Goof! Move back. Way back, and if the ball comes to me, keep out of my way. Look at him showing off. Strike him out, Alan. Damn, Alan. Good hit, Dad. Thanks. It was such an easy ball. 1 little fly and 4 runs. 4! It's impossible to miss. One thing's for sure. If he ever plays on our team again, I'm not. I'm so mad I don't know what to do. He heard me say that I had it. Trying to be the big fat hero. You might as well have forfeited. Oh, that's Goof. Stupid, smart Alex, show up Goof. Why do you suppose he acts like that? He must know what makes everybody hate him. He doesn't know anything. Well, I know one thing. I'm through with him.
Hi, gang.
Hey, move over, Chubby. Well, the team played some fine ball today. I'm proud of you. Oh, come on, perk up. It's only a game.
We know that, Mr. Claiborne.
It, looks like everybody's here but Henry. Did he go home?
I don't know where he went, but I'm glad he did.
No, don't be too rough on Henry. He just got flustered.
He was born flustered. Say, Mr. Claiborne, would you excuse me? I'm supposed to meet my dad.
Why, sure thing, Alan.
And I have to get to my piano lesson.
Uh-huh. Oh, say, Alan, pass the word around to the rest of the fellas to, just forget about that last play, okay?
Sure thing. Won't do any good, Mr. Claiborne. Everybody's just fed up with Goof.
Well, he'll probably never say so, but, down inside, Henry feels worse about this than you do.
He doesn't have any feelings. It's not that he can't play ball, Mr. Claiborne. It's the way he acts. Always punching somebody, making wise remarks, acting like the big shot.
Poor Henry. He just doesn't know what to do with himself. Kids, I know he's hard to get along with, but there aren't many people who are lucky enough to have a twin. And Henry has no friends, no interests.
And no sense.
So is it surprising that he tries to get attention, any kind of attention?
He tries to make us mad.
I think he would rather have you pick on him, even fight with him. Anything but ignore him.
But you just can't like somebody like that.
Well, I'm not asking you to like him. For a start, it's enough to just think about him.
We've tried to put up with Henry, Mr. Claiborne. Honest. We've tried every way we know how.
Well, maybe you've tried to tolerate him, but, have you ever really looked at him? Have you ever really tried to talk with him? I don't mean make fun of him or tease him, but just talk with him. Have you?
Well, but you don't know Goof.
But the point is, whatever Henry does, however he behaves, he's not just an animal, a hamster or something. He's human, just like the rest of us.
everyone just doesn't understand. It's impossible to get along with Goof. Get along with him? All I want to do with him is put him into outer space. Permanent orbit. Goof is fooling around with the hamster. Mr. Brown's cage. Mr. Brown is gone. You let him out on purpose, didn't you? Mr. Brown can't stay out all by himself. Something will happen to him, and it'll be all your fault. I didn't let him out. Honest. I just brought him a piece of lettuce. Oh, yeah? Well, how'd the door get open by itself? It was like that when I came. Mr. Brown, come here, Mr. Brown. Come on, come on. Come on, Mr. Brown. Come here, Mr. Brown. Here, Mr. Brown. It's me, Henry. Go on home, Goof. You'll scare him away. I won't scare him away. He'll know I'm his friend. Oh, yeah, you're just great. You are. Be quiet. He's coming to me. Here, Mr. Brown. It's me, Henry. I brought something for you. Oh, thank goodness he's all right. Let me hold him for a while. He's nice. I told you he'd come to me. Hey, he likes me. He came to me. You must have forgotten to lock the door this morning. Well, I don't really remember fastening it. If he were mine, I sure wouldn't forget. Hey, do you think you could teach me how to raise hamsters? Would you show me? Would you? They take an awful lot of time, Goof. And brains. But he liked me. Didn't you see it? Well, he wasn't scared at all. No kidding. Where could I get a hamster? Well, Dad got ours in Hill City. If I saved up enough money, do you think he'd buy me a pair? I don't know. He doesn't go there very often. Well, I could raise him to sell to laboratories like you do. If they discovered a vaccine with one of my hamsters, do you think they'd name it after me? If they discovered a vaccine against goofiness, believe me, they'd be glad to name it after you. A vaccine against goofiness? Boy, that's a good one. Hey, just call me Doc. Dr. Goof. Is there a doctor in the house? Coming, nurse. Hold for Dr. Goof. Coming, nurse. Hold for Dr. Goof. Still showing off. But for a minute there, he was almost human. He thought Mr. Brown liked him. Oh, Mr. Brown liked that lettuce. You know, he's sort of pitiful in a way. Funny he'd do a thing like that. Bring Mr. Brown the lettuce, I mean. Yeah. Ted, do you think we could teach him to raise hamsters? Wouldn't be easy. And why should we? I just have a feeling we ought to try. Maybe we could give him 2 of the babies as a start. What are you doing? Going a little soft in the head? Maybe. But I was just thinking about what Mr. Claiborne said. That we hadn't really honestly tried. Who knows? Maybe we will discover a vaccine against goofiness. Hey, Ted! Ted? You know, it's too bad we lost that game. I'd have had that ball if you hadn't gotten in my way. You know, Henry might have caught that ball.